So, welcome to the November 19th edition of LiberalViewer Sunday Live Clip Roundup. Thanks for joining me. Both on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher and Saturday Night Live. I'm going to show both those.
And not Roy Moore, who's accused of way worse, by the way. But Franken is a liberal. Maybe I'm liberal because I do live in a gay neighborhood. But then maybe I'm...
And you can see there at the end is a picture of R. Kelly. I don't know, the remix to Ignition, that part, I didn't get that reference till I looked it up, but I did kind of recognize R. Kelly there. But I thought that was kind of Al Franken versus Roy Moore of Al Franken, and I will discuss that with you after we watch that Bill Maher monologue clip, about 2.5 minutes long, from Friday night, and you can see the entire monologue at a link I put down in the video description. But here's the 2.5 minutes basically on Al Franken.
Anything that can calm me down. Sleeping, not cool. Where they
LiberalViewer presents.
So Michael Che compares
troops. Come on, man. Didn't the troops in Afghanistan have it hard enough without having...
I left that last frame up a little. Defend Al Franken, at least not necessarily, but compared to there, you can give me a thumbs up down below this video, or if you just like the video, even if you're not a Sandy fan. But
with Leanne tweeting, he released a picture where he's mock groping her. About another Me Too campaign where it's I can tell two
So I don't know what you think of Bill Maher's gradations. I'll show you is a series of four of the five outlets. I'm not going to show CBS, but I'm going to show the Franken to Donald Trump and even Bill Clinton, as I was talking about earlier. Some summaries came from, or I think the most comprehensive summary, and also the longest one, was NBC's Meet the Press as the guest host, which I guess is kind of appropriate. NBC's a little over 4 minutes from NBC's Meet the Press this morning over here.
When the stories about Harvey Weinstein and confront the fact that the president covering support for Bill Clinton, especially how quick accusations from 9 women in advances.
He just grabbed my behind. I mean,
Trump is dodging questions.
should Roy Moore resign?
Leaving responses to the Franken has apologized.
Dear Leanne, I want to apologize to you personally. I don't know what was in my head when I took that picture, but that doesn't matter.
Also getting new scrutiny, President Bill Clinton, who held a campaign reunion of his 1992 victory.
And I like the way especially NBC juxtaposed the claim from Stephanopoulos, put it into more historical context, especially for those people who are thinking this is, has never happened before, and this is like a big watershed moment and everything's going to change. I think George may have. It's also worth watching.
Morning, the litany of actual misconduct
Against my face, and he stuck his tongue in my mouth.
Leanne Tweeden says that happened on a USO tour back in 2006, before Al Franken was a senator. Just the latest in a series of disturbing stories.
I remember the lurch when I was...
The promise of...
Whether it's Bill Cosby or one of our to say no more.
Look at this headline after charges of sexual misconduct. His sexual relationship with a young intern.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong.
And just last year, Donald Trump confronted by more than a dozen women after he bragged about groping.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Keep hitting the same problem over and over again and doing worse and worse, where you keep hitting the same investment and watershed moments where an upward spiral. I guess how some of these things moment or what the best term. I thought this week, the State of the Union this week is reckoning, which is that we're now reckoning with sexual harassment. And there is a short summary. This is less than a minute, but I think most of the facts you saw in the two longer stories I just showed are also in the CNN report, which I will.
Morning, a scathing. Alabama is a large and the state's top three, including one involved. This election has been behavior from our leaders directly to the hall.
So, then introduction, Roy Moore versus Al Franken thing, but I think they emphasized Al Franken, and the only mention they have of Donald Trump's misdeeds, they conveniently have coming out of Hillary Clinton's mouth, which is a little under 2.5 minutes over. I guess apparent journalism error, and I think he does his father proud. This is sort of your Fox and Friends kind of spin, I think, as I will discuss with you after.
Congress will finally crack love.
It was not enough for a rape victim to help rape survivors like me. He can't lead on it now. Minnesota's other senator, Amy Klobuchar, has already signed on to sponsor. Not all Democrats are distancing themselves from Franken, though. Hillary Clinton appreciates that he said sorry.
Look at the contrast between Al Franken accepting responsibility, apologizing, and Roy Moore and Donald Trump, who have done neither.
Emphatically denied.
In Alabama, Republican Senate candidate all 9 responded, quote, Mitch McConnell endorsement. Roy Moore, we have no idea when his next public rally will be. So it seems 2 of the politicians with the least to say about the scandal in Alabama are the 2 Senate candidates in Alabama. Chris?
Peter Doocy.
So that was Peter Doocy. Like I said, I think that you notice more and news. That's only whether you think. I think that questioning that his questioning, he did put Roy Moore and Al Franken together, allowed Mia Love to kind of get out of a direct answer and talk about whether she believed the women and believed, the allegations. She kind of got away with at least bring up director at the White House, Marc Short, who I praised last week, compared.
When you think they all deserve due process, to have time to going to be able to do that.
Picture, he weighed in on that, the picture of Franken appearing to grope his accuser. The president sent out this tweet. The Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 while she sleeps? On the other hand, when reporters noted that President Trump faces his own allegations from a bunch of women about him allegedly groping them, here's what a spokeswoman said.
I think in one case specifically, Franken has.
These situations are their actions, not just in the past, and we can't qualify.
Love, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, at least he did bring up that. I pretty much gave my legislative affairs director at the White House to answer basic questions about Roy Moore. But the problem was his on this big point, but Donald Trump never gave his opinion on it. But you have to watch the whole thing. Is actually watching this introduction where several Donald Trump accusers are put worth of evasion because there is this introduction, at least 6 minutes worth of evasion from Marc Short. And
time was Donald Trump put
his promise to sue. We're going to talk now to his point man on Capitol Hill, Marc Short. Thank you for joining us this morning. I want to get actually to the immediate question now facing the president.
At this point, we think, though, it's best for the people of Alabama that all the information is in front of them.
Decide.
I believe the women, yes.
Alabama. Roy Moore has been a public several aspects of the story. We're very concerned about this. But at this point, as I
allegations.
We
but
do
you
have
also...
questions. We do have serious questions about the allegations, and the president has raised those, and which one of the reasons why he has not gone down to campaign. You've not seen him issue robocalls. I think he thinks that at this point it is best for the people of Alabama, and then the Senate decides to overturn the wisdom of the people of a state. Alabama will have a lot of wisdom in making the right decision come to. You should certainly be able to infer by the fact that he has not gone down to support Roy Moore his decision so.
So he doesn't support Roy Moore? And he's comfortable with Roy Moore being in the United States Senate?
You have from teenage girls, and we have people who are child molesters. Having said that, we also believe that these allegations are arising 38 years after the date.
And you've used the word pedophilia in the past, is disqualifying. It comes down to a simple matter. You believe the woman who made that.
And right here, sitting here 40 years after.
At least showing up the White House Legislative Affairs Advisor, a pretty telling example of the bind that the White House finds itself in. Minute set of evasions also talk about how give some of the talking points that Steve Bannon and I want to move on now to a couple clips of Republicans meet the press talking blunt. The Republicans, I'll talk about it with you.
The rest of the Senate establishment Republicans of trying to drive him out of office. Is he correct?
Well, I don't know if he's correct or not, but we're at a point now where really Alabama voters are going to make that decision. And the directors of or not, that's just totally inappropriate.
Now, politically, are Republicans better off if Roy Moore wins or if he loses? If he loses the seat, or whether he wins and Democrats think they have an issue going forward?
Well, you know, I said that I thought the story was more credible than his response, that Alabama
has been silent on Roy Moore since he came back from his trip in Asia, yet he seized on Al Franken's misconduct, acknowledged misconduct. Franken immediately apologized and welcomes an ethics to excuse what he did.
You're innocent, said I did this.
I wanted
to decide, but he went a little farther than Republicans can go in this situation, although consistency, I think she's pretty consistent, although, well, I'll see if I have some criticism that we can discuss after we watch that clip together. 2 minutes and 22 seconds over here.
We saw it just recently, but we're seeing it right now. You mentioned President Clinton, and it certainly did happen.
And I am, well, first of all, my hope is that we have no choice but to seat him. Then, however, the Ethics Committee could have, and Al Franken has essentially admitted to them. I'm talking about what the outcome would be if the Ethics Committee proceeds with an investigation.
Let's move on to the
taxes of at least who's president, and hoping the Alabama voters will also decide that Roy Moore still had representative not really or do at least has a strong stance on Republicans who commit sexual misconduct, although you'll see she also says Al Franken has to resign, which I haven't really talked about, but maybe before that NBC meet the and representatives.
Congresswoman, do you find these women credible?
Yes, I do.
The fact that the president refuses, according to his tweet, zero evidence, allegations 100% rejected. Mitch, Moore must quit immediately or be expelled. Is there a double standard here?
No, I don't think that there's a double standard. I think we've got to be very until proven guilty. But when a large group of it's been going
Linsky scandal. Debbie Dingell?
I have 1,000 delegate, but I think that we've got to focus on what the future is.
Monica Lewinsky scandal. I don't know. You can let me know what you think down in the comment section. And I have 2 more clips left. The first one is from back on Bill resigned over the Lewinsky scandal, and Bernie Sanders. You out there who say that Bernie Sanders doesn't dodge questions, I think you will see a little bit of dodging from Bernie Sanders talking to Jake Tapper in the 2-minute clip, or a little under 2 minutes.
Signed sexual relationship with the White House.
Today, within the political world, within the corporate world, within the media world, where women are being harassed every single day. And our job is to change that culture. But it's not only harassment on the job, right? To control her own body, to take away. The world has comfortable at work in this country, which is now not the people of Minnesota.
Thank you so much, Senator Sanders. Always nice to have you on the show. Appreciate it.
So that's pretty much multiple dodges. He dodged the Clinton Sandy clips and the Sandy picture. I think she's fine last night. It was so sad, but spirers of other women coming forward. In fact, in her youth, she was the
harass issues. The old boys club was pretty bad. You're saying it's worse now?
Somehow tortured or in
situation. You mentioned the president.
Cast tonight on the news clips, although she kept. They'll also show a still image I took of her real neck problem. You can see that here. Commentary and criticism on the. Hopefully, we'll get back to the Russia scandal next.